Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. We've made it to another Tuesday, and it is just a special Tuesday because this Tuesday is falling on April 1st. And I know that a lot of folks are like, listen, it's April Fools. Ain't no April Fools over here, honey. We are not getting into the April Fools. We are all full steam ahead. We are ready to get this month started. And I am so excited that you are here with us today. Listen, welcome to Sister Let's Talk Biz, the show where we give Black women founders the real talk, the strategies, and the support to build, scale, and secure the bag. Ladies, we've been saying this for about 8 weeks now. And I am Candace Porter. I am your Sistahbiz community engagement host. And today is just a little bittersweet, right? Because it is our finale episode of Sister Let's Talk Biz Live. And all season long, ladies, all season long, we've been walking through the Black Women Founders Roadmap to surviving 2025 because we already know the 2025 is given a little bit of a mess if you hear in the US, okay? So we have covered it all: policy shifts, money moves, marketing and the madness, and protecting our peace when the world is wilding. But ladies, for this episode, we are completely flipping the script. Yep, you heard me. We flipping this script, all right? And in this episode, episode 8, it is we out. Okay. I even got on a little shirt that is even talking about what we are talking about today. Okay. We out. And this episode is going to be when Black women take their talents abroad. All right. Because let's be real, some of us, listen, I have talked to so many people and they said, I'm ready to pack my bags, protect my peace, and simply be out of here and build a new life somewhere else. So today we're talking to two incredible Black women founders who actually did it. Okay. They said, listen, the US ain't it. All right, I'm out. Now they're thriving across the borders. They are in Portugal and Mexico, running businesses, finding freedom, and living life simply on their terms. And we are here for it. So we're talking about the exit plan, Black women whispering, the exit plan that Black women are whispering about, from burnout in the States to peace overseas. I don't know, you guys. I am just so pumped about this particular episode. And we're not going to waste a whole lot of time because we want to get into it. All right. But just before we dive in, I just have a couple of things that I want to remind you of. Right now, if you can go in real time, if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, we would love to have you a part of the YouTube community. Go ahead and click subscribe. Right in real time. We would love for you to do that right now and be a part of what's going on. We have such a banging YouTube channel that you want, that has full of information. So make sure that you subscribe to that YouTube channel. Speaking of banging, we have a banging Facebook group. I mean, our Sistahbiz Facebook group is off the chain, and that is where the conversations begin, and that is where they are continued. And please don't go anywhere after the interview because we have a special gift from Sistahbiz just for our loyal members and viewers tuning in today. So grab your coffee. You might be abroad, so you may not have no coffee. It might be mimosa time or wine time. We understand that time zones are different right now. So grab whatever you need and get yourself ready for an amazing episode of Sister Let's Talk Biz Live. So with no further ado, I am going to let my co-host in, who has been rolling this train with me for about 8 weeks now. It is the founder of Sistahbiz, Coach K. Good morning, Coach K.
Good morning, sis. How are you?
I am doing good. How are you?
I am good.
Yep.
It's a beautiful
Same,
day.
Coach K. Absolutely. So, the thing is that you might be thinking, You guys look like you're somewhere different right now. And you are absolutely right. We are somewhere different because we are actually in sunny San Diego, right, Coach K?
Yes, yes. Oh. All right, y'all. I think I'm on here by myself for a second here. So I'm gonna give y'all the lowdown on social media marketing world.
We're
Oh,
back.
there we
Like
go.
we said, we're in a different location and things might be a little shaky, but don't worry about it. We're going to keep this train moving. So thank you, Coach K, for holding it down while I got myself together. Okay. So we are at Social Media Marketing World, where it is the world's largest social media conference where we're coming in, we're getting new information about social media, and we're trying to keep up with the times. And sisters, we are not leaving nobody behind. We are taking this information and we are going to bring it back to the sisterhood members, right, Coach K?
That's right. We got a
Okay,
lot of good stuff we're
absolutely.
learning here. And so I'm really excited about all of the updates and just the access to the cutting edge trends, the news, and the information about where a lot of the social media platforms are going and how the algorithm and the needs of the customer and customer behavior or user behavior is changing and what that looks like for us as businesses. So we got a lot of gems tools that you should be using, people you should be connecting with. So members, you're getting a full download of what we get from here for y'all. So y'all could be ready in 2025.
Yes, because we ready in 2025. Now, Coach K, before we bring in our amazing guest, it is also a special day for Sistahbiz. Today is April 1st. April 1st marks a special birthday for Sistahbiz Global Network. Can we give it up in the comments? Happy birthday, Sistahbiz. Happy
Yes.
birthday, Coach K. Thank you for creating and being obedient to your assignment and creating a space for us Black women founders to be able to celebrate this birthday, this momentous occasion today. So happy birthday to you as the founder of Sistahbiz, and to all my Sistahbiz members. Happy birthday. We in here and we are going strong. Okay.
Absolutely.
That's all I
They
got to
ain't
say
seen
about
nothing
that.
yet.
Ain't seen a single thing yet. Okay. So, y'all, we ready to get into it. I am so pumped about what's going on and the conversation that we're going to have today. Y'all, we could have went on and on when we talked to these ladies yesterday, but we had to stop it because we wanted to make sure that we were getting the real information in real time. Okay. So I am going to bring in our guest for today. We have Vanessa and Halisi in the building. What's up, ladies?
Hey, y'all. Nice to see you. I'm trying to adjust the microphone here. Sorry, y'all.
That's
Hello.
all. Look it. Listen, do what you need to do. I love that background. Ladies, I want to give you both an opportunity to introduce yourself, tell us where you are and what you're doing. So, Halisi, we'll let you go first.
Okay. Thank you, ladies. Coach K, and I know her as a different name, but that's all right because we've been around the block for a little minute or two. Y'all, and Candace, thank you so much for inviting me to share my story. I'm Halisi, and I am the co-founder of Our Black Utopia. We help folks who are Black, who are getting close to retirement age, get their money straight so that they can retire on time or maybe even early. And we have retired in Lisbon, Portugal. We went from negative 22,000 to over 1.1 million in net worth in about 3 years. And so we tell people how to do that.
Woo! You better come on here and get us together already. Awesome. Congratulations for that success, Halisi. Like we cannot absolutely wait to hear your story. Thank you so much for being here. And Vanessa, hey.
Hi, everyone. How are you? My name is Vanessa Jacquemin. I live in Mexico. I am an online business strategist helping online entrepreneurs set up and launch their businesses. But I recently launched a relocation consultancy. I help people move to Santiago de Querétaro, Mexico, or Mexico in general. And I've been an expat for about 30 years, or immigrant, I will say, but we're so used to saying expat. But I've lived abroad for the past 30 years in different countries.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, welcome.
I just have to say, first of all, you don't even look old enough
Hello?
to have lived
Listen.
someplace else for 30 years.
Yes, I'm almost 50. And I'm very proud to say that.
You know what they say about us. You already
Yes.
know they say black don't crack. I'm like, listen, and it is true. It is living proof. So, and that I think that's what happens also when you're living in peace and stuff like that. So it just
Come
makes
on
it
now.
more clear.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying, Coach K?
I turned 60 in August.
Wow.
And I had more folks at my birthday party here in Lisbon, Portugal, than I could have gathered in Denver, which I was there for 20 years.
Okay, now hold on, Halisi. Now hold on, don't you dare. We gonna back up a little bit. Let's jump into this because I know you already like. Let's go. So before we get going, before we go ahead, I want to just rewind a little bit, right? Because I want to know, where were you in life, professionally, emotionally, spiritually, before you even made the move to abroad, before you decided to even move out of the US? Where were you? And I'll start with Halisi.
Yeah, I think my story will probably be because I ain't been out the country for 30 years. I wish I would have had the courage, because I had the vision, but I didn't have the courage. And internet didn't really exist like it does today. So it's not as easy, right, to do that. But I was the executive director of the Colorado Democratic Party at the time. And this was right after Joe Biden got elected. And then January 6th happened.
Wow. So you were, can you?
And I was sitting there, looking like, are you effing kidding me right now? I was literally, like 9/11, we all know where we were, right? I was sitting at my desk, COVID, right? Sitting at my desk at home, doing interviews for a new admin, for a new personal, not personal assistant, but assistant. And and I've got the news on because I work in politics, right? So I'm looking, wait, what?
Yes.
Now, we know that if brown people were in that crowd en masse, what would have happened? We know. And I sat there and I was like, what the F am I doing?
Yeah.
Why am I working 70 hours a week for shit pay? Right? Like, master's degree notwithstanding, why am I working 70 hours a week for shit pay? I'm 119 pounds. My hair is falling out. And I'm looking at these white pieces of crap tear down the Capitol, storm the Capitol, try to injure my friends. And I was like, hell no. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, hell no. So that was the straw. We had already had plans. My plan was, or our plan, my husband and I, our plan was to move in 2025. So this year.
Okay.
That was the original plan. And then Jan 6 happened.
And then that was just like, it's time to go. Yep. That was
y'all white fall, y'all can have it. Y'all started this SHIT, you can finish it. Goodbye.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, pieces, deuces, just like Chris Brown said. Thank you so much for that, Halisi. Vanessa, where were you when you decided to make that move?
Well, I think for me, the whole relocation move for me, or understanding what it meant to be a Black American, like a Black person living in the United States, started for me when I was very, very young, where I really understood what my Blackness meant and what that meant for me existentially. So for me, relocation and leaving was a very existential thing. I just, at a very early age, understood that we're just different and we're viewed as different, and I'm not viewed in my full humanity. So that's really where it really came from. And I think also because my family is originally from Haiti, I was very lucky. I was born and raised in New York. I'm from Queens, but I was lucky to be able to go to Haiti every summer. So I was lucky to have that, to understand there's something out there. There's something else. There are other countries. It's not just the United States. And I think like in my childhood, like when I was called the N-word in the 3rd grade, that really like, there's something wrong. Like, what is going on here? So, and then throughout my life, just noticing how Blackness informed how I was treated, what I was allowed to do. And I, went to school and went to a great university and all that, but I was also a musician. So I was trying to do music at the same time, deciding between law school and doing music. And I realized that as a Black singer at that time, this is in 2000, I just really felt that I was limited. I felt that producers saw me a certain way, that I had to sing a certain type of music. Maybe that was limiting in my part, but that's just the way it was. And so on graduation day, I was online graduation. I said, I have to make a decision. And am I moving to France to follow Josephine Baker's, legacy, or just France? It just has a different, races viewed differently, even though in the end it was not that great either. But I just felt like I could be more free. So that was the moment for me where I had to make that decision. One, to pursue music, but also to pursue it outside the United States, because I felt that calling, that was where I needed to be. So for me, and even though I lived in France for 8 years, it didn't work out, also because of race for me. My relocation is always a quest to find where I can feel completely Vanessa and completely human, and not where my Blackness, like, I don't want people, enough is enough. Like, we should be allowed as Black people to just be human. So that is really where it's coming from. So I lived in France, and then I actually went to live in Haiti. I lived in Brazil also, but I settled on Mexico in 2019. Haiti was going through a lot of problems. I just had a baby. I said, I have to go. I think it's time for Mexico, a country that I had been to often, that I knew very well. And that is the only country where I felt at home. So that is why I chose Mexico. And that's how it started for me.
Wow. Thank you for sharing, Vanessa. Now, I know that you said that you're Haitian, and I do know that that Haitians speak French. And so do you speak French?
Yes.
Okay. So did that make it easier for you to say, I'm moving to France? Or like, because I'm trying to think about like the language barrier sometimes that puts us like, oh, I can't move to another country because I feel like I'm not going to be able to have a conversation. So I just wanted to know, Vanessa, but it looks like you're shaking your head no, that wasn't a deciding factor for you.
Well, I think, yes, I think I am different than somebody who maybe didn't speak French. So maybe they won't think that. But I think that word that you said before, courage, that's really what it's about. It's courage, it's bravery, it's believing that you can do this. It's not as difficult as people think, because you just don't think about it, that whole idea of moving, but it's not that difficult. Yes, it was easier for me because I speak French. I also love languages, but you'll figure it out. Like, you have to live in the country for a little while to start learning the language. You can like take lessons beforehand, but you have to take the leap. Plan in advance, but take that leap. It's going to be worth it no matter what. And you can always come back home. That's how I look at it. You can always come back home. I mean,
yeah. And I did see, oh, I'm sorry, Halisi, I did see that you held up your phone. So do you leverage your phone a lot to get the communication barrier out of the way?
Look, we have traveled to almost every continent. I speak English. And I speak Portugal. In context, I speak transactional Spanish and transactional Portuguese. Don't change the subject on me, because then I'm not going to understand what you're talking about. But if you're talking about, do I want strawberries in my, like, I can understand that, right? Because I'm expecting to hear certain words. Y'all, do not let the language, and do not think that you have to move to England or Australia or New Zealand be the thing. That's what this is for. That's what Google Translate is for. We don't need all of that stuff anymore, right? Like, we landed here in Portugal, and my arrogant ass did not know anything. Okay. I didn't even know how to say hello. I was so arrogant. I don't know what I was was thinking, but I was dealing with putting my dad into assisted living as we were moving. We got residency in Mexico and Portugal all at the same time. Lessons like Duolingo or anything. Like Duolingo is, first of all, it's Brazilian Portuguese. It's not European Portuguese. So that's not going to work. But I just figured that, and here's the thing, y'all, everything is figure outable.
Yeah.
Everything is figure outable.
Yeah.
And you just figure it out.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so we landed, we landed, like I said, I didn't even know how to say thank you. I'm saying gracias because it like foreign language default equals Spanish, right? That's my default, even though I took 7 years of French. And the French comes back when I don't want it. But, you know, we landed, and what you will find is that in most major cities, in the tourist areas, or in the major cities of the countries that most Americans would want to, travel to, folks speak English. They speak English. Do they want your money? They speak English. Right.
Yep.
And then when they don't, like even with, doing booking.com or Verbo or something like that, and you're booking your little apartment, it translates it. Uber, it translates it. I'm sitting in front of this, restaurant. It translates it. We have to let technology be our friend and don't let the language barrier stop us from moving abroad.
That's good. Because Coach K and I were walking down the San Diego Strip yesterday, and we were just talking about that, and was just like, man, because when I've traveled to another country, I was just like, man, am I going to be able to like have a conversation to at least get something to eat? It happened to me in Bogota, Colombia, and I was like, there was a time where I was like, you want to know what? I don't know if I'm going to be able to get anything to eat because we are having an issue. So I love hearing you ladies say, everything is figure outable. Just do what you need to do and get what you need to get. So thank you for that. I just want to move on to, what did it look like the moment that you said, I'm out of here? Like, what did that look like? What was going on at that time? And now, Halisi, I know that you did say January 6th had happened, but like at that moment that you said, this is it, I'm out of here. What did that look like for you?
Yeah, it was a while after that. And because I didn't make the decision as a young person and made the decision, owning a house and having kids and grandkids and all of that stuff, right? Like we Black women love to be a martyr. I can't move my grandkids, my this, my that, my this, my that, right? But like somebody's got to be Harriet Tubman. So that's number one. And so the thing that was the crux. Now, I want y'all to know, I was the executive director of the Colorado Democratic Party. I had the governor, our two top, our senators, our US senators, and our congressperson in my speed dial, and mayor in my speed, I still do, right? In my speed dial. I could not find state assistance with my father with dementia. And I could not work 70 hours a week and still take care of my daddy. And he was in and out of the hospital, in and out of the hospital, in and out of the hospital, right? And so you know how these jobs are, right? Like they don't care about that. Like when you coming in, right? And so it was the moment when my boss texted me and said, how come you're not in the office? Now she knows that my dad had just gone into the hospital like 4 days earlier. But not only that, unfortunately and fortunately, he happened to get sick when I had already asked for that time off. But she forgot. So I'm dealing with my dad. And she's out of the country. So I'm still kind of managing the staff very passively, right? Not showing up, but like, doing the thing. And she texted me, I was like, oh, hell no. That was it. Like my hair is falling out. I'm 119 pounds. I'm working 70 hours a week. I'm supposed to be on vacation, my dad, and you calling me asking, are you kidding me right now? Yeah. So Rick and I was actually, I'm part of a community called Exodus Summit. And for any Black woman who's watching, if you are not a part of Exodus Summit, then you need to be.
I agree.
Right? Vanessa is shaking her head,
Yes.
right? These are the women who liberate Black women. And so I was sitting there listening, and Rashida Dow, who I consider one of my mentors, even though she's 10 years younger than me, she said, that job does not deserve all of your Black brilliance. And I was doing my cowgirl moment. I'm like, it doesn't. It doesn't deserve all my Black brilliance. I'm out. And that was kind of the moment. The problem is that we looked at our money, and my calculation was saying that we still had to work for 2 more years. So then the question was, how much money do we have, and where can we live off of this amount of money and be okay forever, in the foreseeable future, right? Like, that was the thing. And it's just that simple. We don't get that because we're too busy trying to keep up with the Joneses. See, I ain't got a car. I ain't got a car note, and I don't have car insurance. I have a 3-bedroom apartment. I moved from a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house to a 3-bedroom, 1-bath apartment, but I am free. And I have not had to work in 3 years. And so that was the holiday of 2021. When my boss came back in January, I called her. I was like, so look, we moving to Portugal. She's like, oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll work that out. What's the time difference? And blah. I was like, oh, no, you don't get it.
You're not included.
I ain't trying to do this from Portugal. No, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Because all of you guys are on something, and I'm not going to continue to give everything that I have for a country that treats me like an abusive spouse. I refuse. And there's a time when the spouse has the abused, right, has to say enough. In Portugal, we say chega, enough. And so, because we know how the United States treats us. One day it's slapping us and saying it's our fault. The next day, I love you, come vote, and this and that and the other, and y'all. And then the next day they're slapping us again. And so December something, 2021, we made the decision. January 3rd, I gave notice. March 1st was my last day of work. April 1st was my husband's last day of work. And so between January and June, we were out. We left Denver in May of 2022. We were in Portugal by June of 2022. And I did not know where I was going to put my dad, y'all. I didn't know. But what I did know is...
Halisi, I'm sorry, before we get into that, because I know that there's, some questions around that too.
I'm not going to say that. I'm going to talk about walking out on faith. I'm not going to say what the story was, but what I'm saying is I bought the ticket for June. Did not know where I was going to put my dad. And all I knew was by May 31st, he was going to be somewhere.
Yeah.
Because God is.
Absolutely.
So I want to jump in here and just kind of pay attention a little bit to the chat, because Chris Johnson said the U.S. does not promote other cultures, certainly not in education. The propaganda is that this is it. The U.S. doesn't encourage global citizenship. That would go against the supremacist ideology. What do you ladies think about just perceptions of the places you're in, Portugal, Mexico, living abroad, that are actually probably not serving us well and preventing us from pursuing global opportunities?
Well, I can just speak for Mexico. I mean, Mexico has such a horrible brand in the United States, and it's completely false. I mean, when I say completely, completely. And I think, yes, what Chris Johnson said is really true. Whether it's how, and definitely how American culture, especially in the 80s with the superhero movies and all, has been promoted as Captain America. This there is this idea that this is it. Also the American dream, that whole concept also has created that this is it. Why would you want to leave here? And not understanding there are middle classes elsewhere. There's infrastructure elsewhere. There are institutions elsewhere. And there's also better quality of life elsewhere. I think that for me, and I can really speak to Mexico because I have lived in Europe. I do get like, but really Mexico in terms of quality of life, and it really doesn't have to do with it being affordable. It's just the culture. You know, other cultures prize certain things that we don't, and those things that they prize that really have to do with human nature and real values really affect your well-being. That's why you feel at peace when you live there. That's why you feel at home, because the culture prizes and puts forth certain things that I think that America has definitely lost, and I think will continue to lose with what's happening right now. We don't understand how all these policies also affect culture. So no, America is not it. There are other places. I mean, even if you're talking about affordability, I think about Mexico. I don't look at it as, oh, it's so cheap. No, I look at it, this is the way we should be living. This is the price that rent should be. This is how much groceries should cost. This is, you know, what somebody's salary should be allowing them to live, you know? So, yeah, it is unfortunate, but I think those things are starting to break down because things are starting to kind of break down. I mean, we'll see in the United States, but I think people are slowly realizing I'm paying so much in rent. Like, what am I getting? What am I getting in return? Childcare. I mean, I'm a single mom. I have no help. And the community that I have here, the infrastructure here, you know, you have restaurants in Mexico where you have playgrounds and nannies. And it's just a place that's made for families and to help people, support people. And that is part of quality of life. I'm sorry. Unless you have like a lot of money in the United States, again, depending on what state you live in, you don't have those things. You know, I don't know.
Halisi, what is your perspective? I know yesterday you said some really compelling things about perceptions of Mexico and sharing. I would love for you to share, like just share with us what we're sleeping on in terms of Mexico and Portugal and everywhere else.
I think we're sleeping the rest of the world because the rest of the world does what America says it does, right? Like America says it has family values, but Mexico and Portugal actually live it, right? So you know, I said yesterday when we're chitty chatting, you know, we have permanent residency in Mexico, and we were in Mexico. The one thing that I just love is the intergenerational gatherings that are not special gatherings. These are just the way they live. And the same is true here in Lisbon, Portugal. Here in Lisbon, this is the one thing that I realized. So everywhere there is a playground in the park, you will find a kiosk next to it that serves beer, wine, burgers, snacks, you know, juices and waters and, you know, soft drinks and things like that, but like have adult beverages, like and hard alcohol as well, right next to the playground. And so at 4 o'clock, between 4 and 6, depending upon the weather, you're going to see a bunch of adults, not like this, but actually talking to each other, hello, communicating and fellowshipping with one another as they keep an eye on their kids that are right there at the playground. That's Portugal. In the metro, which is our subway system, in the metro stations, the bigger ones have commercial space. And so there'll be snack places. I used to get my hair cut there before my barber disappeared. And there's like beauty supply, t-shirt, all this stuff, right? Commercial space. The best space they saved as a nursing room for mommies. And it's got a mural on the room. And when you walk into it, because I was nosy, it's got music, soft music playing and all of this. It is crystal clean. This is in a public subway station here in Portugal. This is what it looks like. And then lastly, I'll leave you with this. This is the difference in culture, because the Black men in our lives, this is what they say. I can walk down the street at night behind some white women, and they never pay attention. They don't clutch their purses. They don't cross the street. They don't pay attention because we're not a threat here in Portugal. And so the police treat them accordingly, right? And then lastly, this young Black kid, he was on the bus. I'm there with my groceries and I'm doing what I do, right? I'm on the bus because, again, I don't have a car. And 90% of the people here in Portugal take public transportation. That's what we do. that also makes a difference, because you've got to rub up against people. You've got to rub up against people who are not like you, right? You've got to communicate. You've got to show deference. There are laws. Like if you don't get your ass up for somebody who is disabled or for a mom for those front seats, you're going to get a ticket. So that's number one. But number two, so this young Black kid, he's on his phone playing games, whatever he's doing. And I see him help this mom up on the bus with her stroller. He does one end, she does the other. He helps her up. And so I look and I'm like, she's white, he's Black. I don't call Portuguese people white. I just call them Portuguese. And then there's Black Portuguese. But anyway, in our vernacular, she's white, he's Black. And they're all Portuguese. And so I'm looking, I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting, because he don't look like a half Black and half white. And then when she gets off, he looks up and he rushes over and helps her off of the bus, gets off of the bus with her, with the stroller, so she is okay, then gets back on the bus and continues on his way. That is Portugal. And that's why I love it. And that's why, I have no intention on ever moving back to the United States.
Can you, before we move from this conversation, I really want you to speak to your our discussion around Mexico being the capital, somewhat the capital of South America, and how people, because I think Vanessa called it, she said the brand of Mexico is just, horrible in the U.S. And it's very intentional, as Chris Johnson said. This is how the U.S. builds education. So
I remember when I told people that I was quitting and moving to Mexico, I had Mexicans saying, why would you do that? That's how good the propaganda in the United States is. And so the first question that I get, and I'm sure, Vanessa, you've gotten it, what about the cartels?
Well, that's the first one.
Right. And so then I ask Americans, what about the mafia? How often do you deal with the mafia?
What about the guns?
How often, right? Like that's how often you will deal with the cartel, right? You ain't dealing drugs. You're not trying to take over avocado farms. you're not gonna be dealing with the cartel. I mean, seriously, folks, what are you doing? The folks, the quote unquote tourists that were shot, it came out, right, that they were trying to get involved in something that they had no business getting involved in. All right. And so, to say that Mexico is dangerous is to say America is dangerous. And America actually is on the no travel list for a lot of countries. And so obviously the crime in Denver versus the crime in South Central LA versus the crime in South Chicago and the crime in Manhattan versus Georgia, like all of that is different. And so to say that all crime is like it is in South Central or South Chicago is just the same as what they've done to the whole country of the United States of Mexico. And that's the proper name, the United States of Mexico. Okay. And so in Mexico City, they have wealth like you would not believe. And it is generational, passed down like big money, like wealth, like miss me with that little $1 million you got. That's cute, Halisi. That's cute. But you tripping right now, because all of the major global countries that have a headquarters in South America, it's usually in Mexico. That's where it's going to be. It's going to be in Mexico. And so Mexico is a rich country. People are sleeping it. They are sleeping it. And you can live a stress-free life of ease in Mexico. And that's why we have Mexican residency. Secondly, because it's right next to the United States. But
Halisi, I just want to ask,
it's crazy. We in Mexico.
Thank you so much for that, Halisi, because when we're talking about wealth and all of that, I want to just talk, Vanessa, because I do know that both of you run a business, right? And Vanessa, your business, I just want to talk a little bit about that. What is it that you do, and how are you able to run business in where you're at in real time in Mexico?
Yeah, my main business is as an online business strategist. So all of my clients are in the United States, and I really help startups, set up and launch like over a period of months, because a lot of them come to me with not really knowing what to do. And digital marketing is so complex, especially. So that is my main business. When I moved to Querétaro in 2021, in June of 2021. So it's going to be 4 years in June. And I moved with that business. So I had my clients and all that. And as I've been living here, I really, also wanted to do something that's more my personal brand, have a business around that, but also realizing that so many people are contacting me about moving to Querétaro. More and more people, a lot of people can't even see the name. When we hear about Mexico, we hear Mexico City. Maybe people know about Guadalajara, they know Cancun, but they don't know Querétaro. So that is definitely a city that is growing. It's growing not because of expats, it's growing because of Mexican nationals who are moving here because it's one of the safest cities in Mexico. It's a big city, so you have that big city feel, but you had that ease of living. And so, I recently launched Maverick in Mexico, and it is a blog where I'm going to talk about my life in Querétaro. I also work with artisans. I just bought a home, so I'll be showing how to buy a home in Querétaro, how I'm working with my interior designer to design a home, like how to just have a great stylish life in Querétaro, and especially, with the artisans that I'm going to be working with. So I help people move. So that's a new business, but you can absolutely have a business here, and there are two things. Either for Mexico, I can speak to, either you move here and you get your temporary residency, which you could have for 4 years, right before getting your permanent residency. As a temporary resident, you are not allowed to work in Mexico. Okay. If you do want to start a business, like a brick and mortar business here, you would have to partner, not as a business partner, but have them on the contract or whatever that final thing is that you would do with your lawyer in order to be able to open a business. So you can do that as a temporary resident, but you would have to have some form of income coming in from the States, unless you have your savings and don't have to work, or you have Social Security coming in, or like me, you start an online business, right? But you want to make sure that you have that business running and clients enough. And you just want to make sure that, especially for the first 2 years, where your money is coming from, right? That's really, really important. Afterwards, when you become a permanent resident, you are basically a Mexican citizen. You just can't vote, right? You're not a Mexican citizen. You don't have a passport. You cannot vote, but you have all the rights of a Mexican citizen. You can open your business. You can do whatever you want. So, and then you can get a job in Mexico. Querétaro is an industrial city. When I was on the plane moving here, Querétaro is a very rich state. One of the Mexican states. It's very rich because it's very industrial. You have Nokia here. It's a big aviation industry. Boeing is here. I think Tesla's opening here. Amazon is going to be opening. Google is opening. I know. Maybe I hope Tesla does it in the end. I don't know. But it's a big city. This is not a small town. So there are jobs here. So if you do have your permanent residency, you can even apply to work for an American company here. So you do have a lot of options and opportunities.
Awesome.
I want to see how Tesla does against BYD. That is, BYD has like 60 dealerships in Mexico, and they're so much better than Tesla. They're not allowed to be sold in the United States.
Okay. So thank you so much for that, Vanessa. Halisi, I'm not sure what BYD is. Is it something that is in Portugal?
So BYD is an EV company out of China.
Okay, got it.
So I didn't know who it was, but we did on our YouTube channel, we did one of our live streams on BRICS, on the BRIC nations, and what they are doing and what investment opportunities could be, we should probably think about as Black Americans, understanding that the empire is crumbling, right? Mm-hmm. And we do not want our wealth to go by the wayside as the melon felon does what he's going to do. And so we did an episode on BRICS, and we've been talking with, I've got family members in South Africa as well. And so we've been talking to them about what is going on and how that is changing the economic landscape of the world, and which countries are growing and which countries are not growing. Right. And so by and large, the BRIC companies are growing at double and triple the pace of what America was growing at under Biden. Of course, it's now it's about to go into a recession. So that's, beside the point. But like what we usually do, that 2% growth, the BRICS nations are growing at double to triple that.
Okay. Got
Halisi,
it.
can you speak to, you mentioned yesterday, can we talk about like getting your ducks in a row? You mentioned starting with this kind of idea of like money, like how much does it take to be ready to move? Don't go out of the country broke. Like you had some really good tips and just various currencies. Can you speak to some of the gems you dropped for us?
Yeah. And the reason why she's bringing this up is because we heard this crazy ass story from Mexico of some young man who, was like, oh, it's so cheap. First of all, I hate to say that. It's not cheap. Okay. The quality of life in Mexico, the quality of life in Portugal, yes, it is less expensive. And that is because the people who live here make less money per hour. And so they have got to be able to afford what they have. But don't come down here with no colonizer mentality. This guy, I don't know what he was thinking. He came down there and then asking about a food bank and all of this stuff. Look, the first thing, if you do not have your own business, if you cannot work remotely, then the first thing that you need to ask yourself is, how much money do I need and where's that going to come from? So Rick and I, we designed a life where we could live off of just his Social Security and nothing else. We also saved 2 years worth of living expenses in cash or near cash. And so what does that mean? That means CDs, like laddered CDs, money market accounts, high yield savings accounts. All right. And that's not including the money that we had in brokerage accounts, IRA, 401k, et cetera. All right. So we've got our retirement accounts that we haven't touched. I am now old enough to be able to touch it without getting dinged. I just realized that, oh yeah, let me start moving that money. I want to move the money because I do not trust the value of the dollar right now. So there's that. And then we save the 2 years money, living expenses. What we say is any money that you need between now and 4 years from now needs to be in cash or near cash. Any money that you need after that needs to be in investments. Your money should always be making money, and every dollar that you earn should have a job. So we saved that 2 years living expenses, and we saved an additional $40,000 to get residency in Mexico, in Portugal, do the scouting trips, we had to put down about 5 months rent here in Portugal before we even had a yes from the immigration department. So a 1-year lease is required before you even apply. Mexico is easy. We got Mexico like that. It's like, oh yeah. But Portugal, you have to want to move to Portugal. You really do. It is the 6th safest country in the world, right?
Wow.
Like 75-year-old gray-haired women with walkers walk at night by themselves on walkers down the street. That's how safe Portugal is. And Mexico is not too far behind that. A lot of the cities in Mexico are not too far behind that. Don't get it twisted. But yeah, so $40,000 for all of that. 2 years living expenses, whatever that, not income, living expenses, because your income should be more than your living expenses. Hello, right? It shouldn't be the same, right? So 2 years worth of living expenses, plus our brokerage and investment accounts.
Vanessa,
and we also have 2 rental properties too. So
thank you, Halisi.
Yeah.
I love that Halisi brings this perspective of like a couple that is thinking about retirement. Can you give us the perspective of like, for the person that's out there that's maybe, I'm a young single mom and I want to make this move, and how do I do this when I'm nowhere near close to retirement? Or because you've been doing this for years now. So what does it look like to take a family, young children, or go when you're early on in your career?
Yeah, well, I think if we're talking about like money, I would at least have a year of savings, you know what I mean? Like living expenses, or, you can maybe do for 6 months, but I would definitely like try to have a year. I would also get that job way beforehand. I know that a lot of people may want to leave now. I'm getting clients who are like, I want to leave in 4 months. Like people are so afraid. And literally the first thing they say, it's Trump, like that's it. So you have to just plan. You really, really have to plan. And if you have a child specifically, you want to make sure that, there's the schooling that you want, right? Querétaro is amazing because there's so many private schools. And again, the private schools here, I would say that if you are coming with your kids, put them in a private school, absolutely. And the prices for those schools are just so much cheaper than what it's like to go to a private school in the United States. My daughter goes to the Lycée Français here, which is the French private school. They have them all around the world. I'm amazed that I can put her in this school and the price that it is. So I would just, get your money right, give yourself enough time, because you need to have a buffer. You need to have a big enough buffer. You don't know what's going to happen. Let's say you just start a business and it's kind of taken off, but not really. So you really need to make sure that you have that buffer while you're building that business. If you know that you want an in-person job, you can get your permanent residency. Normally in Mexico, permanent residency are for people who are over 65, but there are some cases where you can get it earlier depending on how much money you have. Okay. So, but I would just, what you're going to be applying for is the temporary residency. And you'll see in the meeting, like what happened with me, they asked me, do you want permanent or do you want temporary? I was like, oh, that's even possible. So I would just say the main thing is planning. I'm a strategist, so I just really believe in planning. That moment that I was standing, in graduation 30 years ago, I was planning. That's what was the next step. I made the decision, immediately started planning money and, all the logistics around that. I just wouldn't just like that, especially kids. No.
Absolutely. Ladies, I really appreciate this. Oh, Halisi, you are on mute.
I was typing answers to people, and I didn't want to click.
You appreciate that.
You might be surprised if you work for a large global company. Ask. Yeah. We've helped 2 clients that thought that the husband was going to stay in the States and just travel back and forth to Portugal, while the rest of the family, the kids and the wife, moved here. And they said, look, my family's moving to Portugal. I'm probably going to be putting in notice. They're like, well, do you want to transfer to the European office?
Okay.
That's a thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ask. And then the other thing is you might be surprised on how much money you need to live on.
Mm-hmm.
So in our Ready to Retire toolkit, I think you put that in the description below. We have links to databases that will show you the cost of living for places all around the world. And like we did a video on people who could go and live around the world on a call center salary.
Wow. Yeah.
So, people sleep Thailand and places like that. Don't sleep Thailand. Don't sleep.
All right. So I want to play a little bit of a game because we're running down on time. And I feel like I want to make sure we get a couple of answers from you guys. And the game is answer in less than 30 seconds, as fast as you can. Okay. How would you, can you share the price of eggs and gas and where you live compared to the US?
I fill up my tank like twice a month, and it's about it's $100. Eggs, I don't even know, like $2 or something. I don't know. Not
14.
No. I mean, it could be a little bit more, but it's no.
Halisi?
Gas has always been expensive in Europe, and it's by the liter. So I have no idea how much it is, and I don't own a car. But I can tell you this. I can take an Uber from the airport to my house, sometimes for as little as €5, €6, and just add 10% of that. And that's what it is in dollars. The most I've ever paid is like €8. Okay. And then as far as eggs, $3.
All right. Second question is, if someone's confused about the difference between, if there is a difference between dual citizenship and permanent residency, can you explain in your words in 30 seconds or less?
Go ahead, Halisi.
So residency is usually the first step that you get. And it's a green card. Okay. That's a green card. That's what you should think of that as. And then citizenship means a passport. Yeah. Citizenship in Mexico is different than citizenship in other countries. Any country that has a treaty with the United States, you probably can have dual citizenship without giving up your United States citizenship.
Right on. Next question, both or either can answer. Would you advise people set up a business in the country they're in or keep their business in the US in terms of where it's registered and run their business from another state?
The US. That's what I would say.
I think it depends on where you're going, what your business is doing. If it's between Portugal and the US, but that's because there's not a tax advantage to moving it here. So I think it's not that easy. I think you need to talk to a tax specialist in the country that you're choosing to move to and see what makes the most sense.
And then my final question is, as a Black woman, specifically from the lens of a Black woman, what is the reason why you feel a Black woman should explore being outside of the US?
Well, I will just say if racism is something that you think about all the time, like I do, and my Blackness, I mean, I think we all do. If that's something that's important to you, if you just do not feel comfortable anymore in the United States, there are alternatives. Leave.
I think Black women over a certain age are invisible. If you're tired of being invisible, get the fuck out of the United States. I'm not invisible here. I am a woman. I am a human being. And then I'm an American. And oh, yeah, I'm a person from the diaspora. We have peace. We have, we have joy. Like there is just no comparison. There are no Karens. There are no shooting drills for the kids. Right? Like we can walk down the street. We can stay in the park. We can have a picnic. We can sit in Starbucks without somebody trying to police us.
There's not anybody.
Are you tired of being policed by citizens, by white citizens? Are you tired of being policed? Because that's what they think their job is. They think their mission in life is to police you. If you're tired of that, get the hell out. You can be free outside the United States. All that white privilege that they talk about, you want to feel that? Leave the United States. You'll feel some American privilege up in these international streets. I tell you that much.
Thanks, Halisi. I'll turn it over to Candace for Q&A.
Wow. Thank you, ladies, so much. I really do appreciate just all the wealth of information that you ladies have brought today. I know that you've got some wheels moving in us right now. Some wheels are turning. And I did see that you ladies were also answering questions in the chat. I really do appreciate that. Now, Halisi and Vanessa, I know that you have your YouTube pages, and we do want to share that with our community. So Vanessa, can you let us know about your YouTube page? And this will be included here in the comments, and we'll also put it in the description under our YouTube.
Yes, perfect. So my YouTube channel, it's very new. And yeah, I'll be talking about all things Querétaro. If you're interested in this city, but also interested in Mexico in general, but specifically my niche is really Querétaro, because I think it's a wonderful place to move to. It's growing. It's a great time to be here. You can check out my YouTube channel and my Instagram for that. But I also offer discovery sessions, consultations. If you're interested in moving, it's really the first step where you can work with me, where I can actually help you with your whole move.
Thank you, Vanessa. And Halisa, before I come to you, I just want to say that if there's any questions that you have for either Vanessa or Halisi, please put them in the chat. We're going to get to a couple of questions as time allows, but I just wanted to let you know that the chat is open for questions if any of our viewers have any questions now. But Halisi, can you let us know about your YouTube?
Yeah, we actually launched our YouTube channel March 20th, 2022. So we just turned 3 years old, and we launched it before we left. And so we've got some folks who have been following us all that time. And so we talk about money, travel, retiring abroad. As I said before, we help folks who are getting close to retirement age and forgot to plan. Which are too many of us, get their money straight so that they can retire on time or maybe even early, because that's what we did. Like, we forgot to plan. We thought that there was going to be this big deal in the future, and we forgot to plan. And so we have Beyond the Bling, which is our financial independence program for late bloomers. We have a meetup coming up in June, which I'm so excited about. So we've got about 60 or so folks coming here to Lisbon, Portugal for a 2-day event. We also celebrate Juneteenth here, y'all. Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes, we do. And have been before I even got here. They were celebrating Juneteenth. So it's like June is like lovely in Portugal. It is the month of popular saints. So we've got St. Anthony's Day, which is like literally a party until 4:00 in the morning in the streets. And I mean, yes, there's DJs set up all around the city. People are in the streets dancing, having their wine, their beer, whatever, and just having a ball. And then we have our meetup, and then Juneteenth. And so we're celebrating all of that with our friends here in Lisbon, Portugal. So if you want to come, that information is in the description below. And then, of course, we do one-on-one coaching.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much to the both of you. It looks like there's not any questions coming through right now from the chat. But if in fact you are watching this replay and you're like, I have some questions, please put them down in the comments below, because we want to make sure that we get those answered for you. Coach K, is there anything that you would like to say to our wonderful guests before we get out of here?
Yeah, I know that we're wrapping up, but I do think it's important to ask Halisi and Vanessa to speak to how urgent is it that we move on doing this work if we're interested in moving abroad? What is it about this time right now that makes it the time to move forward?
I think you have to do it now. I mean, I was saying that when we spoke yesterday, and I tell it to everybody. We just don't know how things are going to move forward, and the wrecking ball that's being taken to America is scary, and it's just uncharted territory. So I do think that, and we also don't know in the case of Mexico, how Mexico will respond. Because, you know, Americans are kind of being given the red carpet in terms of easy residency, lower, you know, cost of living and all that. And the Mexicans who go to the United States are being treated the way they are. So who knows how really the government is going to react to these tariffs, all of that. So I would say get your temporary residency now. Just have it. You don't even have to move. Right. Halisi has her permanent residency. She's in Portugal. Just get it. If you can, all you have to do is show 1 year of your income statement. If you have that, get your temporary residency, because I do think it's urgent, because the rules may change later.
Gotcha.
They're going to change later. They change every year. And so for Mexico, y'all, if you call your local consulate and they are giving you a number that you have to meet as far as income that you cannot meet, call another consulate. One of the great things about Mexico is you don't necessarily have to go to the consulate in your area. There's about 3 or 4 that will not accept people from outside of the area, but by and large, they will accept people from out of the area. So call Louisiana, call Texas, like call wherever to get the information so that you can qualify. And yes, as Vanessa said, do it now. When we got permanent residency, as she said, we asked for temporary because we didn't think we qualified for permanent, being retired or not. And but she offered it to us. And of course, I was like, yes. Sí, por favor. What? What?
Yeah.
Okay. And so the thing about Mexico, what makes Mexico so lovely besides the people and the food, is that you don't have to stay in country, okay? Unlike Portugal, where you have to be here 8 months out of each residency period. So for Portugal, it's 2 years and 3 years. If Portugal is a place, y'all, if Western Europe is the place, you better do it now. And the same as with Mexico. Panama also is something that you might want to think about. Panama is another place where you don't have to stay in country. You just have to check in, like, I think once every 2 years. Okay. So get those residencies, have a plan B, even if you are not able to leave the country right now. When we started looking at Portugal, we could have moved here and had 0% taxes for 10 years. 10 years, 0%. Ooh. We waited. We hemmed and we hawed and we did this, and I got to do this. And my Black excellence says I got to get to this point and this point, and all this Black excellence keeping up with Joneses. And I turned around and they had gotten rid of that tax scheme, and then it went up to 10% for Social Security. Boom, 10%.
So now, I hear you saying, like, we need to move now.
Now is nothing.
And that there are things you could be doing right now to secure temporary residency and other types of residency in these places, even if you can't actually make the move. So that balances out the fact that earlier you guys are like, make sure your money's right, make sure you have a game plan, but in the meantime, get that residency paperwork going.
Well, get your passport first.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
We
if
have
you
to
don't
start
have
there.
it, you can't get the stamp, you can't get the residency if you don't have your passport. So that's number one for sure.
Get your passport.
Thank
That's
you,
step one.
Halisi. Thank
That
you.
part.
Have your
Because how many
passport,
Black
get your
folks have passports? Like the majority of Black folks do not have passports.
Yeah.
And you see that they're already trying to deny people who they have deemed as other from getting passports. You're going to fool around and not get a passport and be locked up in the United States.
Oof.
If they can tell the trans person that they cannot get a passport because he, she were whatever on their birth certificate, first they came for and then they came for it, right? It's only a matter of time before we're on that list. And you know it.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to do the slave labor.
We can
Somebody's got
talk
to
to
pick
you
them
guys
fruits.
like all day about this, and I'm probably going to reach out after this to see in which ways we can stay connected with both of your efforts, because you guys are doing really good work to make sure you educate and bring people along, which is something. First of all, thank you for not just going out, because you could have been like we out and been where you were and not shared and pulled people along. But you guys have whole communities where you're helping other people. You're the Harriet Tubmans. So thank you for being that. And thank you for taking the time with Sistahbiz. For my Sistahbiz members and for our audience that are watching, I really want you to hear this. Watch the replay. Get it in your spirit that now is the time for you to create more options for yourself, so that when the time comes for you to move, or if the time comes for you to move, your business is location independent, or you have some sort of work and career plan for your move. Your money is right and you have savings in order, and you're thinking about where your money needs to be and moving it in the right places. There's the Exodus Summit, planning by going to some of these types of events, Halisi's events, Vanessa's activities. Exodus Summit, getting signed up for these groups and these communities so that you can learn the ropes and understand how to game plan and get your ducks in a row, and just really thinking about how important it is for you to have these options for yourself, even if today isn't the day or this month isn't the day for you to actually move in that direction. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. So thank you so much, Halisi and Vanessa.
I want to add one thing about the money. You don't have to move. You can open up a bank account here in Portugal without moving. You just need a tax ID and a bank account, and there are services that will help you do that so that you can have some of your currency in euros. As the dollar drops, the euro is getting stronger. Other currencies are going to get stronger too. You don't want to lose 10% of your wealth just having your money sitting there. We moved a bunch of money about 2 months ago, a bunch.
Wow.
All right, would you guys be willing to come back if we invited you back in for an update in a few months? Okay.
Anything for you.
Be sure to follow these ladies and look at their activities and their services and the communities that they run, and get engaged. Thank you so much, Halisi and Vanessa. Candace, I'll let you wrap us up.
Absolutely. Ladies, if you can let us know, it looks like Our Black Utopia is where we can find you, Halisi. Is that where we can find you on social media? Okay, perfect. And Vanessa, where can we find you on social media?
Well, my YouTube channel is Vanessa Jacquemin, QRO, which is for Querétaro, or at Vanessa Jacquemin on Instagram.
Perfect. Ladies,
I would have thought that was Kitana Ru.
Oh, no, we do QRO as the acronym. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay.
Ladies, thank you. You are a wealth of information. We appreciate your stories and just opening up your hearts and your lives to us. And we can't wait to see you again. So thank you so much. Enjoy your time and your peace where you are. And we will be seeing you all here soon, hopefully. Okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. Bye-bye. Woo. Coach K. Chubby Curls put it, she said, we could have this conversation for about 2 to 3 hours. And I absolutely agree, because it's so rich, especially right now. So, woo, we did it.
It was a good discussion. And I just think that people have to make the mental shift first of like, I can do this. And I'm going to use that quote, everything is figure outable. And, not be afraid to embark on something different and expand your world and your
Yes.
opportunities. It's so much more important for the Black woman than other groups because we are at the bottom of the totem pole. We are tired of being mistreated. You see how they behave treating the 92% right now. We need options. We need ways to find our peace and go where places where we're loved, go where places where we're seen and we're not invisible. And so if they're not going to give it to us where we are, we need to pack it up and create other options for ourselves. And that's what this whole series has been about. This has been about, like, I'm not going to sit here and take this. I'm going to create options for myself. I'm going to create revenue streams in different places. I'm going to respond legally. I'm going to get my ducks in a row so that I can build wealth. Regardless of what you decide I am, I'm going to empower myself and take my power back and create my success story, regardless of what you think you're going to do to me. And so all of these episodes have been about, like, doing that matrix duck when they throw something at us and getting something and setting up shop so that we can survive and thrive despite what is coming at us, and choosing the places and the options that really allow us to be human and allow us to be ourselves and allow us to grow and flourish despite what the world wants for us.
That's right, Coach K. And I know that even sitting under these ladies and just hearing what they've had to say for the last 8 weeks, I really do feel like I'm going to be all right. Like, I really do feel that. And so I hope that our viewers feel the same, that we got this, that we're going to do this, and we're going to continue the work and we're going to move it forward. So Coach K, can you just close us out with, what's going on this month coming and what's coming up with the community at all?
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, our online member platform is called The Suite. And so I just want you to know that Sistahbiz is really creating a space for you to not just grow your business, but also to think about growing a business that really serves the lifestyle you want, growing a business that helps you to create generational wealth, growing the business that helps you to heal and find peace and purpose in life. And it's a lot of work to do that. And at Sistahbiz, we're really about creating a community where you can do that work in community and where you can find the tools and the resources to do that work in community. And so we're calling this what we call the sweet life. If you want the sweet life, if you want to, walk alongside other Black women business owners who are doing the real work of crunching their numbers, building their plans, accessing the network, the power network that's going to help them grow as entrepreneurs, be in community with other Black women founders through times like this especially, then this is the time for you to log into the suite at app.sistah.biz, sign up and get involved. And come to the study halls and be at the Black Girl Therapy sessions and roll out with us to San Diego for Social Media Marketing Conference and hit us up when it's time to do Sacred Pause Meditation with Tovi, and call Coach Anita for that budget call because she's going to help you strategize that cash flow, given that you lost some contracts because of this DEI madness. And meet up with your business besties on a monthly basis to figure out how you're going to move the business forward and strategize. These are the things we're doing in community. This is the place where you can come and you have not just besties, but business besties. We're about really building our businesses together in community and providing the tools and resources. So if that's something that you're interested in, if you're serious about your business, you want to get your numbers right, you want a game plan that you don't just sit on the shelf, you're actually executing on it, and you need a place to go when you're talking through what's happening month to month with that plan and trying to troubleshoot, this is the place for you. So I want to encourage you to go online to app.sistah.biz/sign up if you're not a member, and become a member of our community. The Sweet Life is where it's at, and the Sistahbiz membership is giving it all to you. And we would welcome you in to this safe space for you to build and grow, because your generational wealth is our generational wealth, and we're healing and growing and building together.
Coach K, thank you so much for that. And listen, I've been in this suite working it out, and I really can say that in the last 2 months, I've seen such growth in just my own business and myself. So the Sweet Life is where it's at. So Thank you so much, Coach K. This has been an amazing season.
This is the wrap up. This is
It's
the
the
end of
wrap
the
up.
season.
Yep. So this has been an amazing season of Sister Let's Talk Biz Live. We are not going to go away. We will be taking just a little bit of a break and coming back so that we can continue this work collectively and together. So, Coach K, you ready to sign out?
Ready to sign up. Bye,
Okay,
everyone.
we'll see you, ladies. Bye-bye.